So here's an interview between Bill Maher and journalist, author, and activist Raheel Raza. I thought it was pretty interesting. I wanted to share it with you guys. All right, here we go.
Here's a little of her internet video called By the Numbers.
In 2013, Pew Research released a comprehensive study based on interviews with thousands of Muslims in 39 countries. It reported that in countries like Afghanistan, Egypt, and Jordan, the vast majority of Muslims surveyed, between 79 to 86%, believe that those who leave the Muslim faith should be executed. Do you know anyone who has left their faith? Do you think they should be executed? Do you think that that's a radical belief?
Please welcome Raheel Raza. How you doing? What a great pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you too.
Thank you for coming on. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for being so brave for speaking out.
Thank you for giving reform-minded Muslims a chance to have their voice.
I think we're on the same page about that. I mean, I've been having this fight with liberals for years. I think they're coming over to our side now.
You think so?
I do, because, you know, I've been framing it in the way of, you know, be a liberal. Liberals are the people who are supposed to be fighting oppression. I tried to introduce this term everyday terrorism, because I think when people think about terrorism, they think about ISIS. But you know, in most of the Muslim world, there are no bombs going off, but there are maids who can be raped with impunity, wives who can be beaten, gay people who can't come out of the closet. Yes. You can't be a blogger, or maybe you're going to lose your life. I mean, this is what you're talking about here in that brilliant video that I saw.
Absolutely, and you know, thanks. It was actually a part of your show that inspired Clarion Project to make this video. It was your clip with Ben Affleck.
Who?
Batman.
Yes.
When I looked at it for the first time, I thought, man, you need to have some reformist voices on your show.
No, I know.
So here I am. Thank you.
And I'm so glad you said that, because, you know, I've bent over backwards trying to have the other side, and what I should be doing is giving more voices to people like yourself.
Yes,
and we've had Azra Nomani on the show. We had Ayan Hirsi Ali, a lot of great people. Yes. But yes, you do. In that video, you do say, I don't need celebrities defending me. I need defense against people in my own religion who want to kill me.
Absolutely. And this is going to add to that list, by the way, after seeing me on your show, so that you know.
I think it's very important that we note that you live in Canada.
Yes.
And all the voices that we hear like this are usually from people who don't live in their native lands, because if they did, they might be dead.
Absolutely. We came to North America to embrace liberal democracy, the freedom, the pluralism, most importantly, freedom of expression and gender equality. And we do have it here. But we need to fight for those who are fighting against these odds. And in order to do that, we have to have statistics like By the Numbers, brilliant film.
And it's so great what you show, which is that I think, you know, I talk to a lot of liberals. They come up to me at parties. They want to talk about this. And I think they have some very bad ideas about what's going on in the world. And one of them is that it's just a few bad apples. And you show that, no, bad ideas, unfortunately, are not confined just to the terrorists. These ideas, like you said, leaving the religion gets you killed. Being gay can get you killed. Theocracy, the marriage of mosque and state.
Absolutely, and in terms of women's rights, according to the same Pew Research poll, they found that 37% of the Muslims surveyed said that if a wife was unfaithful or had adultery or premarital sex, it was okay and acceptable to kill her. So when you think of that mindset, that's almost 300,000 people. So
300 million.
300 million people, yes. So the numbers are important.
They are.
The numbers are there not to demonize people, not to scare people, but to tell the truth and to say, these are the odds that we are up against. And when I say we, I mean we reform-minded Muslims, the Muslim Reform Movement, who are the frontline warriors in this battle against radical jihadists.
This is who I'm trying to defend, people who just want to live in the 21st century.
Yes.
And it's so hard in so many places. I think Americans, what they see is American Muslims, who are very lucky. They live in a place where you can leave the religion without getting killed, or you cannot wear hijab if you, did I say that wrong? Hijab, if you don't want to. Yes. or you can come out of the closet if you want to. But these are not options available for most Muslims around the world. And
they're not, yes, and that's true. And I found my voice and my freedom when I came to North America, to Canada, about 28 years ago. And the fact that I have male support, both in my family and in my children and from the outside. Because without engaging the men, we can't bring about change in the issues of women's rights, which is very close to my heart.
Right, and it is the men. I read this brilliant op-ed piece in the New York Times a few weeks ago by Kamal Daoud. Okay, yeah, I think he's Algerian, and he was talking about, he said it right out. He said, there's a sickness in the Muslim world. The sentence that amazed me was, he said, the path to orgasm is not through love, but through death.
Well, there's a lot of sexual deprivation, there's a lot of sexual oppression, and then it manifests itself in very violent ways. You know, when you oppress people, when you suppress their natural urges, it manifests itself. And in this case, unfortunately, it manifests itself in violence against women. Right. And that is one of the issues that we are fighting through films like Honor Diaries that was made by the Clarion Project.
Yes, and what about the film that won the short documentary at the Oscars?
That has been brilliant. So Sharmeen Obaid,
called The Girl in the River?
Yes,
right?
it's called.
And it's about honor killings.
It is.
Are unfortunately more common than we think, right? What is an honor killing?
Well, an honor killing is when a girl, usually a female, sometimes it's also males, by the way, is killed in the family because it's deemed that she has done something that has dishonored that culture. It's a tribal practice that has existed for thousands of years, and in many parts of the world where these tribal practices still exist, it goes on. But
and that can be just being raped, right?
Yes, it can be.
They blame her.
But, you know, that is an extreme. It could even be something simply as turning and looking at a boy or talking to a boy or, you know, speaking to a neighbor's boy or doing anything that is deemed dishonorable. Right. But this frightening thing is, Bill, that it's not just happening out there. It's happening here in America. It's happening in Canada. And that is what
is happening in Canada?
These honor killings.
Right.
There have been
and also female genital mutilation happens in Western countries.
Yes, almost 500,000 cases of female genital mutilation right here in America. So we have a huge problem ahead of us. Right. And if we're going to be politically correct and beat around the bush and deflect from the issue, we won't be able to address it. So in order to bring about a change, we have to address the problem head on.
And I think maybe we agree on yes. Maybe we agree on this also. You know, Donald Trump, I think, is a very dangerous man with some very dangerous ideas, including his ideas about Muslims. I don't think we should bar all Muslims from entering this country. We need Muslims in the fight against terrorism. But I will say this, and I've said it before on this show, if Americans have to choose between a party that won't even say the phrase Islamic terrorism and Donald Trump, especially if there is another attack, they'll choose Donald Trump.
Yes.
And then things are going to get even worse for Muslims. So it is in their own best interest to come out on the side of principles that are liberal, democratic, Western principles.
Absolutely, I agree with you. There are two things I want to say about Donald Trump. One, that he's an equal opportunity offender.
Yes.
And secondly, you know, this is considered to be the first world, the civilized world, but he is really fudging that line about civility. You know?
He really is.
Yes. I'm a grandmother, you know, I had to cover my ears on some of the conversation. I'm still pretty old-fashioned that way, but you know, come on. This is a presidential election. So that's all I have
You'll never catch me saying a swear word.
I know. And not in my presence at least.
Not in your presence.
But you're absolutely right. What we have to do is look at the deeper picture. We have to look and see, perhaps Muslim Americans need to sit together and discuss, you know, what is it that brought this around? You know, is it that something has been festering for a long time? Is there a problem within the House of Islam? And that is a question that many Muslims don't want to address.
Right.
That, you know, the question might, to look inwards. That reflection is very healthy for the soul. It's very good for us because it teaches us how to be better human beings. And it teaches us that we have a serious problem that we need to address. And we need to find solutions with the people from the outside.
Well, you're a great spokesman for it. You're brilliant at what you do. You're doing God's work. And if you ever need someone to stand with you, I'm right here. Raheel Raza. All right, thank you. Let's meet our panel.